What's going on, guys? Well, it's February the 8th, Super Bowl Sunday. And here in Middle Tennessee, it's 42 degrees today. So I was sitting there and I was like, you know what? Maybe the Super Bowl keep people from being at the lake. And I'm going to go try and catch some crappie. We're going to fish off the bank today. I like fishing off the bank during the winter time because it's, I got that little John boat and it's pretty hard to load without getting a little bit wet, and that water's still pretty cold right now. So I like to bank fish in the wintertime. I just like to bank fish anyways from time to time, but that's what we're going to do today. We're going to give it a shot, see if we can get out here and get on some of these crappie. So hang with us and we'll see what we can do. All right, guys, we're out here. Just got set up. I'll show y'all what I was using today. Today we're going to use the old Crappie Max rod. This is a 6.5 foot rod, light action, or light power, fast action. This is a Shimano Sienna. It's about a $30 reel. It's pretty good for that price range. Man, that's a good little smooth reel. So they sell them at Walmart and Academy. I think I got this one at Academy, but I got this pole right after Christmas. I've been wanting one of these for a long time, but they're, like I say, I'm kind of a frugal guy, and this is about a, I don't know, $60 rod. So I held off for the longest time. Finally, I pulled the trigger and decided I'd get one. Using 4-pound test Mr. Crappie line. And then on the other end we got, get it out here where we can see it. This is a Bobby Garland. Pearl white is the color on this. This is just a little shad bait, Bobby Garland, using a chartreuse head. And I usually have good luck with these white Bobby Garlands. They're just a good all-around kind of all-purpose bait for me. Like, you know, purple and chartreuse tube jigs are really good catching crappie this time of year. Black and chartreuse is another color on a tube jig. But I use these Bobby Garlands most of the time, and I'll do a video here before too long, kind of show you what I've got in my tackle box that I use. Everybody seems to have their favorite, but look at the action on that thing, man. That's awesome. That is why Bobby Garland jigs are probably the best. As far as anything you can buy from a box store. Now, if you can find guys that make their own jigs, a lot of them, you know, I bought some at a fish expo in Lebanon last year that have a built-in weed guard that are really, really good jigs. But anyhow, that's what we're going to use today, and we're going to give her a shot and see what we can do. Well, if I can get this thing cast out there, you'll notice, if you look before we get started, I keep this bobber stopper on this right here all the time, because most of the time when I'm in my boat, I'm fishing with slip bobber and probably live bait. I throw jigs on from the bank, you know, especially this time of year sometimes, because it's just easier than carrying a minnow bucket into, you know, like here you have to walk a quarter mile to get here. So if you notice that on my line, that's the reason why I do that. I keep it down real close, maybe about, I don't know, depending on who you ask, that's probably about 10 inches maybe from the jig head, just because on this rod in particular, and a lot of more, you know, expensive rods, this thing has a ton of eyelets on it. So you don't want that thing getting caught up. This rod right here is the one I use when I throw jigs. The reason being is because it's got so many eyes. Those bobber stoppers, you know, they don't get completely hung up in it, but they do touch, and it just makes for a unsmooth cast, and I hate that. So that's why I go with the old cheapo, brother. The old, hell, I brought it with me. Look, I told you I don't go nowhere without this bad boy, this bad son of a buck right here. This is a Shakespeare miniseries. You know, just a little ultralight. And she's a beauty, son. I'm telling you. 5 foot, ultralight action. Don't have as many eyelets on it because it ain't as good of a rod on paper, but I love it. But this crappie max is nice, and this is nice for jig fishing. So right here in this particular spot, what I'm doing is I'm letting this lure drop to the bottom, or close to it, and I count down about 20 seconds in my head. And this is a starting point for me. If it doesn't produce, then we start doing something a little different. But I usually start by just letting it drop all the way to the bottom. So the first, few casts are going to be the longest, and then I'll work my way up. And then when you get all the way up and you still ain't caught nothing, that's when you know they probably ain't going to bite. So once it gets to the bottom, keep your rod tip up, and I'll start a real slow retrieve. Just painfully slow. Every 4 or 5 rotations, I'll pop it just a little bit. Just pop it. Just a hair, just to give it a little action, then go right back into your slow retrieve. And then about every 5, pop it. Just give it a little action. I don't know why, but those crappie just love it. That little twitch, that little pop. And then I hope you can see on screen here just how slow this retrieve is. I mean, it's painfully slow. That's how slow that I retrieve these things. At least at first. That's the way I always start. That's my very first technique. And then you adjust from there. You might run it a little quicker, and they might respond to that, but in my experiences, for the most part, as a general rule, they really like that slow retrieve with that little pop in there. And then when they come in there and thump it, you'll notice that they like to thump it pretty quick after that pop. That pop just does something to set them off. It just fires them up, and then they'll go hit it. Now, they ain't doing it right this particular moment, but that's usually how it goes. It is a beautiful day here in Middle Tennessee. We're at Percy Priest Lake. Is where we're at. This is about 30 minutes east of Nashville. And just look how damn beautiful it is. 42 degrees. There ain't a smidge of wind out here. There's 2 other guys across the way over there fishing, and me. And that's it. And you want to talk about serene and peaceful, buddy. It don't get a whole lot better than this right here, I'm telling you. If you've got problems, or if you've got stress in your life, or whatever it is, everybody's got it, Just find you a spot like this right here and just come out here and just fish. And it don't matter if you don't catch anything. It don't matter if you don't even get a bite. Just come out and fish and just see how relaxing it is. I would do this if I knew for a fact that 3 out of 4 times that I went, I wouldn't catch nothing. I would still come out here and do this because, I don't know, I just love it. And as far as crappie fishing goes, the rule of thumb is, if you're really trying to get on them, is you know, if you don't catch nothing pretty quick, you move spots. That's just crappie fishing 101. Ask anybody, they'll tell you. If you're bank fishing or fishing from a boat, if you don't catch something pretty quick, it's time to move, you know. They say the old saying is that bass fishermen switch lures and crappie fishermen switch spots. And that's true. That's very true. But there's a time and a place for that. And then there's a time and a place where you just sit here and you just fish. And you know, if you catch some, awesome. If you don't, you know, use that time just to unwind. Find yourself a relationship with God, you know. Whatever, you know, and if that's not your thing, then hey, that's cool. Find your, you know, it's complete zen is what it is. We're not having too much luck with this white Bobby Garland at the time. Of course, if everybody come out here and caught a fish on their first 10 casts, then there'd probably be a whole lot more people out here every day, because sometimes that ain't the way it goes. Now sometimes you'll throw out there and you might catch one on your first cast, and then you might catch 10 in a row. And then you have days like this where you might take you an hour, you know. Alright, y'all, so we just got broke off our first time, so switching it up a little bit. This right here, this color, if you look closely, it's like a pearl it's got blue specks in it. The name of that's monkey milk is what they call that color, monkey milk, and that's a chartreuse head, 1/32 of an ounce. So that's what we're going to try for a little while, and if that don't work, we're going to try Richard Jean, the fishing machine's favorite color, because remember our rule here on Smoke on the Water. If Richard Jean uses it, then by God, we use it. That's the rule. There will be no Richard Jean, the fishing machine slander here on Smoke on the Water. Richard Jean is the GOAT. If you don't know who Richard Jean is, go look him up on YouTube. He is the man. He is a true professional. If I could only watch one person on YouTube for the rest of my life, it would be Richard Jean, the fishing machine. Alright, let's see how this bad boy works. Well, it's 4 hours later, 3:50, and we're back in the truck. And as you probably already guessed, we didn't do worth a damn. Been there going on 4 hours, ain't caught nothing. One bite. Threw everything out of my head. Every Bobby Garland color I had in my tackle box. Just nothing working today, and that's the way it goes. But it happens to everybody. Anybody that says they go out and they don't have a day like this is lying to you, I promise you. Even the GOAT Richard Jean still has days when he goes out and they just don't bite. There was other guys out there fishing alongside of me, and they weren't. One guy caught one, but that was it. I mean, it was just one of them days. You know, midday usually isn't the greatest, but I thought with the weather, maybe it warmed up, I'd start around noon, fish till, you know, right before it started getting dark or whatever, and just didn't work out today. But you know what? Still had an awesome time. Always super happy and blessed to get out and fish whenever I can fish. Especially in Middle Tennessee, bank fishing, man, you never know who you're going to run into. I mean, boy, you get all walks of life, I'm telling you, but you just got to get in there with them, though. Night crawlers, you know, they just, they come from all different, you know, parts of the world around here, man. I mean, it's awesome. It's like going to the World's Fair when you fish the bank on Percy Priest Lake, or, you know, I love it. Hell, I just, you know, can't get enough of it. But you never know who you may run into. There's always some good ones, you know. Let me just give the young people a little advice. If you run across a guy and he's sitting on a 5-gallon bucket and he's wearing a, you know, Fog Hat Tour 77 t-shirt with the sleeves cut out, you know, that you know is he bought that damn thing at Starwood in 1977. That's the merch booth, you know. This ain't some reprint off Amazon. This is the real deal. And he's got a pack of, you know, Lucky Strikes in the pocket, you know, up here. When that dude talks, you just pay attention, you know, because I guarantee you this ain't his first rodeo. That every lake's got one of those guys, you know, and just you know, kind of fall in there and listen to what he says, and you'll be fine. But no, man, all jokes aside, always love getting out there, man. Thank you guys. I'm sorry that I couldn't provide some better footage today, man, you know, but we'll get in them. It's just one of them things that happens. But I appreciate you guys hanging with me. If you're still watching, and like and subscribe, guys. I appreciate all my subscribers. Got to 51 today, which was huge for me. You know, I was pretty happy about that. But anyways, appreciate you guys. Thanks for watching. Have a good Sunday, Super Bowl Sunday. Go Seahawks. All right. See you.